Do you like manga? Cool. Because I don't. Since we are both here, let me introduce to you one of my favorite types of stories, revenge stories. And when it comes to revenge, there are already some great ones I've already talked about. Akumetsu, Green Blood, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and even some parts of Berserk. Nope! Don't say it. But today, I present you with a new, not so new one. Look, this is a story that people have talked about for like, I think over a year now, but I kind of beat to my own drum. I do what I want, talk about when I want, and I'll have you know, I take a lot of pride in that. But the story I am talking about today is Juujika no Rokunin, or better known in English, I'm too lazy to translate. So Paprika no Cumin is a story about a boy with a family. I think you already know where this is going, because if there's one way to give your protagonist limitless freedom is to implement what I call the Walt Disney method. No, I don't mean throw your protagonist in a workshop, okay? The Walt Disney method is erasing the parent so hard it makes Gon's father look good. So the boy's name is Uruma, or Uruma. I should probably give the warning now that I can't read properly or pronounce Japanese names well. And yet I'm some of y'all's main source for manga. But Uruma has a loving mommy and daddy and little brother. So the story does a great job of making Uruma this innocent and likable character. Part of the likability comes from the relatability of being bullied. So Eminem here gets bullied pretty hard, and therefore his safe place is his family. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that his middle school bullies are the spawn of the devil himself. Imagine if Johan from Monster and the mom, can't be asked right now, from Blood on the Tracks had a kid, who then had a gang of bloodthirsty brats. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm a huge supporter of the OBTC, occasionally beating the child. And these demons decide to pull the harmless little prank of killing his parents and then sending his younger brother into the hospital. Now, I don't mean to sound like Itachi, but as an older brother myself, I would go to insane lengths to protect and support my little bro. But the things I would do if someone were to so much as dare to physically... So Uruma and I have very, very similar sentiments. So now that our MC doesn't have a home, or better yet, parents, he goes to his grandfather's place. And his grandpa was apparently Japanese Rambo or something in Nam, because he has all the skills to teach Vinny Vengeance here what he wants. And that's the power to kill each and every one of those jerks. And that is just the intro for Metro no Boomin. By the way, if you like the video so far, I suggest liking and subscribing, or else I will make you experience the worst of rooster and ball torture. Now hurry up and do it before I die of rip-off syndrome and lack of originality. Careful, it's contagious. But in this video, I'm going to be recommending something that I'm very sure most anime and manga fans haven't experienced in a while, and that is the outdoors. Also, this type of manga. Most manga that have a revenge type premise do take a while to reach their moments of satisfaction, although part of why I love Akumetsu so much is the satisfaction is throughout the entire story. And Juujika no Chunin is extremely good at this. It's very quick to give you the premise, which I explained in the intro, and then it jumps right back into his revenge story, or well, I should say the execution of his revenge plot, as he's now in high school and gives off much more of that alpha male energy, or sigma male, whatever y'all are on these days. But he encounters those obnoxious little children that were responsible for the death of his family and his brother now being in a coma, and now he has to come with the moral dilemma of whether or not he's going to be able to kill them or not. And his first test is against one of the bullies, which he was originally friends with. And the interesting thing here is once he figures out the true nature of the people he's dealing with, he can now have a conviction for how he wants to deal with them. Because he's not killing people who he thinks have some morality to them or are people, but he now sees them as just pure evil animals, and he is simply bringing these lambs to their slaughter. So edgier Sasuke here will no longer have the moral wall standing in front of him. He's completely kicked it down and is ready to go. By the way, if you kind of didn't guess this already, because it is a review, I'm going to be kind of spoiling some things up to where the story is currently at. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled, I'd recommend checking out some of the other videos I've done. So yeah, really quick, I want to draw some attention to the art style of the manga, as I think art is something I point out a good bit in my reviews, because it's kind of what distinguishes manga from just a book, is the nice pictures to look at, because I'm too dumb to read without pictures. But overall, I think the art style really accentuates all of the expressions that happen throughout the manga, as the story can get extremely absurd and crazy. To put it a little into perspective, the fact that this kid had his parents murdered and brother put in the hospital by other little kids, and then almost immediately upon arriving to high school has to save a girl who is almost, well, well, you know, and that's only the beginning of it. So he first deals off with the first bully. Now, just assume everything I'm gonna say here is in the correct order, even though I'm not entirely sure if it is. But the next of the psychopaths is almost like every other Twitter user whose only personality trait is horny. That's what this character is. He's a psychopathic pimp as well as a male yandere character who's completely obsessed with this one female. And I can't really get into it because of monetization purposes, but long story short, a pimp named Slickback here gets hunted down by our good old Yusuke and is brought into the room of the girl that he's held captive and obsessed over for all this time, and she's set free, and they use this very interesting device that, okay, so imagine, fellas, you're going in for a prostate exam, and instead of using, you know, just the 1-2 finger combo, instead he whips out the Infinity Gauntlet. That's kind of what. Then imagine that same device being used where you go number 1 from. Yeah, he has both of his holes resized, and it's not pretty. And don't feel bad for the dirtbag. You shouldn't, because this dude can't keep it in his pants. In fact, he also stole the innocence of the protagonist when they were young. So yeah, for this dirtbag in particular, instead of occasionally beating the child, I'd recommend frequently beating the child. And that's 2 doses a day. Don't worry, the child won't overdose. Now, at this point in the video, you might be feeling extremely uncomfortable, and trust me, I am extremely uncomfortable having to relay this information to you. How do you think it felt reading it? Oh yeah, and did I mention that's only bully number 2? And also, the girl that I mentioned earlier that he ended up saving now has an extreme interest, just a flat-out crush on him, because, you know, dark, mysterious, and dangerous, right? What is there not to like? But I think the story really tries to do a really good job of, despite these extremely gruesome and horrific things being done to these bullies, the author makes them so detestable that you actually don't even feel bad. Maybe that's just everyone has different tolerances for certain things. In all honesty, I wouldn't know. Okay, I'm lying. I would totally wish those things. Anyways, the story just does a great job of putting into light how evil and twisted these characters are, so then there is a sense of satisfaction when our protagonist exacts justice upon them. Bully number 3 has an obsession with the main bully of the group, and this character is a little more intelligent than the previous 2 were, but he's also a lot more annoying, so I really don't feel like talking about him. I'm just gonna say that there's a girl that kind of falls in love with our main protagonist that isn't the same girl from before. This time she's a blonde, and of course, as soon as I knew this romantic interest was gonna be thrown into the story, there was that part of me that was screaming, "Yep, she's done for!" So she's kind of left a little traumatized, which of course infuriates our protagonist even more, goes after the 3rd bully, and then does this insane kind of switch where the grandpa dresses up as the head bully who this 3rd bully is obsessed with, and therefore makes it seem like the main bully was killing this 3rd one. And if you thought the last method was brutal, oh boy, was this one, although actually no, the last one kind of sucks even more. Maybe that's just because I'm a dude, so I could relate to that pain a little bit. Pause. But no, yeah, if it wasn't obvious up to this point, yeah, this story isn't for the lighthearted or with a weak stomach. It's very brutal, and it likes to vividly show kind of the details of the brutality in this story. Now, this 4th bully is the definition of big, strong, and definitely on steroids. I guarantee you this kid takes so much roids, WWE wrestlers from the 80s and 90s would be so jealous. Now, but this kid's a martial artist, and conveniently enough, the grandpa in enough time managed to teach his, I completely forgot what a grandson was for a moment there, but teaching his grandson conveniently how to master martial arts so no man will ever defeat him again. So these 2 face off, and that's currently where the story leaves up to at this point. So overall, what do I think about this story? I think it's extremely engaging. I think it's a quick and easy read, although easy coming in how quick it is, not easy for the actual content. It can be, like I said, extremely brutal and graphic, but nonetheless, it's a satisfying revenge story. It is an all-up-in-your-face thriller that will, I think, leave a really strong impression for anyone who reads it. So if everything I said in this video is at least somewhat, sorta, kinda intriguing, then make sure you check it out. And also, if you found this video even the least bit entertaining, once again, liking, commenting, subscribing, and turning on the bell notifications, that way you don't miss an upload. I'ma just be honest, is of great help to me, and is very much appreciated. As always, this has been the Master Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.